And with that, it is now time for a our segment in which we bring in a special guest involving the recent news of the OHSAA sponsoring and promoting the upcoming eSports Ohio State tournament in May. I am having a sit down now with one of the leaders of one of our area's esports programs. It is Sidney Schloenbach, the coach of Conotton Valley High School's esports program. Ms. Schloenbach, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be able to promote Conotton Valley's esports program here. And we're just as excited as everybody else is that OHSAA was allowed to or able to include esports as one of their official participants.
Absolutely. Now, before we get into specifically the recent news, I wanted to get some backstory in regards to how you became involved with the esports program, or how esports became involved with Conotton Valley High School in general.
So this is actually my second year here at Conotton Valley. I'm one of the music teachers here. And when I was first brought on, I was working with a couple of the faculty members, and they happened to find out that I did like gaming and I loved participating in a lot of the video games that esports offers. And after a couple of discussions, they let me know that they were looking for an esports coach, which was something that was pretty new to me, but also something that was exciting because I know how important video games are to a lot of people and how the esports world is starting to look at it as a positive educational and developmental change agent to help our students participate in a variety of different sports. So when they brought that up as an opportunity for me, I was pretty excited about learning more about it. I have never been an esports coach before, but this was back in 2021. And I knew Conotton Valley had an esports team before, but they were hoping to reinstate it. The biggest benefit to me that I noticed was how excited Conotton Valley was about having the esports program again. And I could truly tell how much the faculty valued it. And that was something that I thought, wow, this is a really great program that I would love to continue with some students here. So that's how everything got started. And then after that, I started doing more research on what it would take to be an esports coach. And I thought, hey, this is something that I can do. I spend a lot of my time doing video games, and I'm sure that having the students stay a couple hours after school to play video games, which might be something that they would just go home and do already, that this would be something that I would get a pretty strong interest in, which that absolutely turned into what it was.
With that, coach, I mean, what to kind of take me through your own history with gaming? Is this something that you developed in your youth? Is this something that you recently picked up on? And with that, how do you think it translated over to becoming this coach for the Conotton program?
So as a kid, I was always a Nintendo person. I always had a DS. I started with a Game Boy. And it wasn't until I was in college, when the Nintendo Switch came out, that I started getting into more handheld consoles that would be applicable to the TV. I had a PlayStation, but I started doing more gaming opportunities with my friends when I was at college, and it was mostly through Super Smash and Fortnite. I started playing Fortnite recently, and I have a couple other music teacher friends who, it's funny, we get on a couple times a week and we do some squads and we have fun playing Fortnite. So when the faculty members found out that I did that, they were pretty excited and say, hey, maybe you should look into being a coach here. But it was something that I would probably say I really got into when I was in college. And I think it's a good outlet for me, especially with teaching. Sometimes, the days just become so stressful. And I feel like that's what it is for our students as well, just an outlet.
Well, I've got the list right up around here. A number of games that, according to Esports Ohio, a lot of kids participate in. You mentioned a few of them: Fortnite, Overwatch, Clash Royale, even Rocket League. Are those the kind of games that you find yourself most invested in, or are there other particular genres of games that you'll kind of just go home and want to sit down with?
I definitely agree. So the titles that you mentioned were some of the titles I had definitely played before. Some of them I wasn't as comfortable with. I haven't had too much experience with, but I have grown up playing Super Smash, so that was definitely one of them that I knew. And when I was talking to some of my colleagues about, what are some of the other titles that students might be interested in, Games like League of Legends, those very PC heavy games, I haven't had a lot of experience with. So I started doing research. I started paying attention to Twitch and watching some sessions and all of that fun opportunities that esports offers in the virtual world. But Rocket League, I started playing a little bit more since I knew that that was going to be one of the games that Conotton Valley students were interested in, and definitely Smash. But those competitive games, I love playing with my friends. But honestly, if I'm looking to just relax, I love going home and playing Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley or those life simulation games. Those ones are the most relaxing for me.
I was gonna say if I had my Switch up here with me, I would have grabbed it, but it's in one of my other rooms. So there you go. I was gonna say, you mentioned Twitch. I mean, obviously, a lot of the with gaming nowadays, not only is it just you kind of going home and enjoying yourself, but a lot of people, especially in the esports world, are into streaming. They post it
Mhm.
on stuff like Twitch and YouTube. Is there a way that people are able to see your team not only compete in these events, but they can also see the results on some of these platforms?
Oh, absolutely. This is something that's a little bit new to us. We haven't tried it too much, but we've definitely played schools where they will actually stream it out. A lot of the times they will put it out on YouTube, but Twitch is definitely one that other schools will use. And eSports Ohio will stream their regional and state championships
Mhm.
whenever we have those big tournaments together. But as
Yeah.
far as Conotton Valley's individual matches, that is something that I'm starting to discuss with the students on our interest on saying, hey, maybe we might be interested in streaming our matches. I think the first season we did it, it was so new to us that we were getting in. We had a lot of people who had never played before, but honestly, I was okay with having them on the team because I really wanted it to be for everybody. So now that I feel like we have a good basis of we've got a great captain, we've got great systems going on, that I feel like we're really getting to that level where we can start streaming our games, and that would be through YouTube or Twitch. And it's mostly just the streaming services. It's not a lot of, we don't have an auditorium where they're watching us play unless it is during the regionals or states.
Sure. Yeah. Now, with that, with the esports partnership now, esports Ohio partnership now with the OHSAA, what does that mean for you and your team? I mean, being able to be a part of something that's a little more traditional on the side of the physical sports like football, basketball, and baseball.
So the first thing that comes to mind is how excited my team is that OHSAA is recognizing esports as one of their legitimate teams, because the first thing that it does is it kind of legitimates the sport for us. Sometimes people think about it as a club, and I've had that discussion with my students about how similar it is to other athletics in that it promotes teamwork, it promotes the building through practices. It has the same competitions that other sports have, and the fact that we can now be considered an OHSAA sport is very exciting, and it's something that the students can look forward to. If we were to make it to regionals or to states, they would provide us with those trophies that have the OHSAA logos on them. That's something that we could bring back to our school, and it's just exciting that it also allows our school to have more OHSAA athletes. And in more of the atypical sense, we have a lot of students who are on the football teams, the basketball teams, baseball, but we have students who otherwise wouldn't have participated in athletic events. And this really opens up that world for them.
Now, there has been a kind of a topic of conversation regarding the status of esports as a competitive event along the lines of the sports I previously mentioned. If there is a perspective that you wish to kind of share with people in regards to how esports can be looked at as something that could be as competitive as a football or a basketball, how would you describe that perspective to other people?
I would look at it and similar to what I mentioned before, the fact that the sport still promotes teamwork. It still has us following a consistent practice schedule and allows the students to see their progress from day one to the end of the season. Again, some of them have never played these sports before, and that's pretty similar to the typical sports that you see. If you're just starting football for the first time, you're going to see that progress by the end of the season. And that's exactly what esports offers. It has us competing competitively against other schools. We are getting that reward of, we did fantastic in this match. We were working together. We were listening to each other. We were following what our captains were having us do. So we were able to be successful. Or maybe we need to go back and look at these different strategies, and we can strategize together as a team. I think that really kind of helps it go very similar to other sports. So when you're looking at it that way, even though it's not a traditional physical sport, it does definitely allow us to have those opportunities. And I think there's a benefit to it with it not having that traditional physical athleticism associated with it, because it kind of offers it up as a wide variety to students. So if students might not have the right build to be a basketball player, it doesn't really matter how you're built to play esports, as long as it's something that you're willing to give your best for. It widens that opportunity for everybody.
You kind of made me think of something there where in regards to the physical aspects of sports compared to something like esports, are there any particular strategies or processes that you kind of have your team go through when it comes to preparing for matches and upcoming tournaments?
There are definitely strategies when it comes to working together. Sometimes that can be the most difficult thing. When we have our Rocket League and Fortnite team going, it is extremely important that they are listening to each other, because sometimes we go off on the other side of the court and we're saying, hey, I thought you were supposed to be guarding this goal, and then the other team was able to score it, for example, in Rocket League. And that can be definitely a little bit complicated. So it's very important for us to work on the strategy of communication. And then there are actually a couple companies that are working with eSports Ohio that allow students to, and this might sound new to someone who's not familiar with the electronic sports world, but work on different dexterity things. If you're not someone who's used to playing the video games where you're controlling the camera angle and you're controlling your player movement at the same time, that can be something that's very complicated. And these organizations are providing exercises, believe it or not, to practice that dexterity. And so that's not something that we have done yet at Conotton Valley, but I think the more we advance our teams like Fortnite and Rocket League, which are the two that we've been focusing on, as well as Smash, that we might look into one of those organizations to help with that a strategy. There's a whole bunch of strategies that, just like other sports, they're going to help us, and if we don't work together, then they're going to harm us.
And finally, with your development of the program throughout these last few years, are there particular names or kind of moments between your team that you think that in which case you might have been really proud of them or you think should be showcased?
Oh, absolutely. And I think the names that come to mind are our team captains, for example. The past year, we had one of our students, Gage Markwell. He was the captain of our Smash team. And he worked really well with everybody in the fall on saying, hey, your strengths with this character really allow you to apply this move in this situation. And it was really fantastic watching our student leaders, such as Gage, being able to say, I'm working with a variety of different students here. I'm working with our students that are very comfortable playing, and I'm working with our beginners. And it's just extremely rewarding being a coach and a teacher, watching your students work together in that way. Of course, we have all of our past captains that have worked so fantastically with our students. Some of them are rather high-level players who are even considering going into gaming in their college career, whether that be applying for scholarships, or continuing that in their major, whether that be video game production or the wide variety that they offer. And then it's always rewarding watching our school specifically, which is a very small school when you compare it to everybody else that's in our region. We're in the Northeast Ohio region here. And we are playing against other schools where their class size is well above 300 kids. And our class size is significantly smaller. We're talking in the 30s, if not less. So we don't have tryouts to be on our eSport team. We take who we can to provide that opportunity for them. And it's very rewarding watching us go against these big schools and really holding our own out there. We were playing one of the founding eSports Ohio teams last semester, and we got a pretty good shout out from them. They said, Conotton Valley is pretty new to this, but they're doing really well. And that was very exciting for our team to hear. Sometimes when we're playing against the bigger schools, they might kick our butts out there, or maybe we do really, really well. But hearing that compliment from another school, especially one of the founders of eSports Ohio, it's very rewarding.
Coach Schloenbach, I really appreciate you taking the time to join me here today on the Big Time Sports Podcast Show. Best of luck to you, and best of luck to your gamers here throughout this upcoming season.
Thank you so much. We're very excited about the opportunities that OHSAA are providing to us, and we're looking forward to a great start of our spring season.